No franchise on Earth, not even Indiana Jones, can outrun the boulder that is Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. What's up, Space Pirates? I am your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and today we get to have a good laugh at all of the excuses for what is actually an obvious truth. Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm is box office poison. Everyone can smell the fart in the room by now, and everyone knows who ripped it. It was Disney, and it was Lucasfilm, it was Kathleen Kennedy. This is an interesting, turbulent time in the media because on one hand, you have articles like this one from Variety of all outlets calling out Disney's very bad year at the box office. It has gotten so bad that even many of the Disney shills can't ignore it.
Oh, this coffee smells like shit.
It is shit, Austin.
Oh good, then it's not just me.
But, on the other hand, Disney shills are gonna keep on shilling, and I don't even necessarily blame them. Disney is a juggernaut, after all. Imagine that you're a critic working for a news outlet, and Disney gives you access to a new movie or video game or something way before the public and most of your other fellow critics. What are you gonna do? Tell the truth and piss Disney off so that you don't get early access again? You might lose your job. That's partially why we see articles like this one, where they make all the excuses in the book for Kathleen Kennedy and the new Indiana Jones flick.
Trust me.
No.
In this video, we are going to discuss the primary excuse being made for the complete failure that is Indiana Jones 5. Naturally, since Harrison Ford is an old white man, they can't use the racism card, or the sexism card, or the LGBT card. Nope, they had to dig into their bag of feeble excuses and find the feeblest excuse of them all. We are going to have a look at what that is. And we will blast that argument to smithereens because naturally it is exceptionally easy to do so. So grab some popcorn and strap yourself in to some place where you won't mind giggling so hard you poop, because it's hilarious to watch these media types try so hard to help but hurt Disney with their ridiculous excuses.
Don't just stand there, throw me a spear!
Let's start this off by examining this article from Screen Rant. They do their list of excuses in countdown form, though it's not clear if their numbering system is supposed to be a ranking, but in any event, we're going to zero in on number 6 in their list. They mention the excuse that a lot of these shill sites are running with. They say Indiana Jones 5 doesn't appeal as much to younger audiences. Indiana Jones 5 certainly caters to its audience who are mostly above the age of 35 or older and grew up while the original trilogy was still fresh and culturally relevant. Disney failed to keep younger audience members in mind with Dial of Destiny, instead making a movie that basically fan-serviced viewers of its original trilogy during the 1980s. Indiana Jones 5's lack of consideration for a broader, younger, more diverse crowd is a major reason why its box office numbers are failing to keep up with other theatrical summer releases. This is wildly out of whack with reality. The fact that Lucasfilm did not cater to the built-in audience who loves Indiana Jones is the reason this movie is failing so hard. I keep stating this because it's true, very, very true, but in 2008, damn near 14 million tickets were sold domestically in the opening weekend of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, based on box office dollars and the average price of a movie ticket in the United States back then. In 2023, they sold less, at around 6.5 million movie tickets domestically, meaning that less than half the audience from Crystal Skull had returned. The built-in Indiana Jones audience was abandoned. We were alienated when they ruined Star Wars, and we aren't coming back for the foreseeable future. But Disney and the media don't want to admit that. They want to blame this movie on the fact that it is an old white dude, which apparently is a major recurring theme behind the excuses they trot out. It's gotten so bad, they seem to have created a new movie category to explain away Disney's failing. This article from Breitbart lays it out nicely. It says, add Indiana Jones to this list of Kathleen Kennedy's stunning failures. Disney's Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy has spent the last decade destroying everything she touches and has done so deliberately. She obviously hates what made Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow so iconic, and so she used her shallow, divisive, reactionary politics to express that hatred by defiling all three into something unrecognizable. Nothing is funnier than watching the fake entertainment media cover up for Disney and Kathleen Kennedy by inventing a whole new box office category, the older-leaning franchise pick. That's the category the suck-ups at Deadline invented to pretend the latest bomb from Kennedy and the Disney grooming syndicate isn't bombing. Oh, look, Dial of Destiny is doing as well as James Bond and Mission Impossible franchises. Oh, okay, except that with production and promotion costs, those franchises didn't cost anywhere near $400 million. Oh, and apparently a 67-year-old Harrison Ford, starring in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Suck in 2008, when the Indy franchise was 27 years old, doesn't count as an older-leaning franchise pick. Why doesn't Crystal Suck count as an older-leaning franchise pick? Because, dummy, Crystal Suck opened to $100 million over 3 days and $150 million over 5 days. I mean, that pretty much hits the nail on the head right there. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull didn't need excuses because it actually sold well. Say whatever you want about the movie, and I definitely have my complaints, but it did well at the box office because Lucasfilm had not lost the goodwill of the fans yet. As I've said a few times before now, based on the average ticket price of movies in 2008 versus today's prices, and based on their box office numbers so far, Indiana Jones 5 lost over half the audience from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, damn near 60%. But continuing on, the article says, when Crystal Suck opened, Harrison Ford was 7 years older than Tom Cruise is now, and 13 years older than Daniel Craig when No Time to Die, But Plenty of Time to Suck was released. Allow me to lay this out as plainly as possible. The Disney grooming syndicate spent $400 million on Dial of Destiny, which is one of the most popular and beloved movie franchises in Hollywood history. A franchise that delivered 4 previous blockbuster hits, a franchise with so much audience goodwill, a chapter that sucked as hard as Crystal Suck, grossed $317 million domestic and $790 million worldwide. If you account for inflation, Crystal Suck made $417 million domestic and $1.15 billion worldwide. If you account for inflation, Crystal Suck opened to $141 million over 3 days and $212 million over 5 days. If you account for inflation, Crystal Suck grossed $385 million worldwide over its 3-day opening weekend. Compare that to Dial of Destiny's $65 million domestic opening and $140 million worldwide opening. So, pardon me for not inventing an all-new box office category to excuse the potential box office catastrophe called Dial of Destiny. Excuse me for comparing apples to actual apples. But now that the Supreme Court has outlawed the obscene, un-American racism that is affirmative action, it feels safe to tell some truths about the most destructive affirmative action hire in entertainment history, Ms. Kathleen Franchise Destroyer Kennedy. Now, if you want a few more examples of what this author is talking about, take a look at this article from Yahoo, where they literally manifest a whole new category of movie to excuse this abominable failure at the box office. And stick with me, because I am going to absolutely blow this excuse away in a few minutes. In this article, the author compares Indiana Jones 5 to Superman Returns, since they both released on a July 4th weekend. In the article, he says, "For you see, July 4th is a prime launch pad for studios to take their best shot with a questionable franchise tentpole and milk as much money as possible. If it doesn't look like you're going to post some sort of record over 3 days, go for the 4-day, 5-day, 6-day, or 7-day stretch that Independence Day offers." Warner's took advantage of that opportunity with Superman Returns, minting a $108 million 7-day opening. It's a figure Dial of Destiny won't even touch. At $82 million over Friday through Tuesday, Dial of Destiny is slightly ahead of Superman Returns' 5-day total of $76 million. That's right, folks, Indy 5 is losing to Superman Returns, a movie that came out in 2006 without even adjusting for inflation, and a movie that was lambasted because it features Superman as a stalker. But here's the real fun of this article. It says Superman Returns posted a second weekend drop of negative 59%. That decline isn't that far from Indy's Old Dude comp, No Time to Die, which was down negative 57%. Old Dude comp. Well, there it is. We have a new category of film. Old people movies. Just when you thought they were done insulting their audience, just when you thought, you know what, maybe they'll move on from the identity politics. After all, Indiana Jones is a movie about a white guy. Nope, Lucasfilm and their shill media busts out another excuse. But newsflash, dipshits. You may not like this, but Lucasfilm's audience was always going to skew older and maler than what Kathleen Kennedy wanted. And by trying to bring in everyone else, you've lost the longtime fans. This article from Deadline also mentions this same excuse. The article says, "The biggest problem with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is that there were no efforts here to cast it up and make it appealing to an under 40 diverse crowd like Paramount did with Top Gun Maverick. Dial of Destiny was conceived for the hardcore indie fans, which are dudes over 50. This is evident in the B- that Dial of Destiny received from 18 to 24-year-old moviegoers. Disney reports that 42% of the audience was under 35 for Dial of Destiny." What the hell do you mean that they didn't do anything to try to cast this movie up and make it appealing to an under 40 diverse crowd? What the hell do you think Phoebe Waller-Bridge was if she wasn't trying to appeal to a diverse crowd? They were trying to appeal to the feminazis. That's what the entire damn casting was. Rumor has it that Kathleen Kennedy insisted on Phoebe Waller-Bridge being in the movie. Rumor has it then that James Mangold wrote the script with Phoebe Waller-Bridge in mind. What are you talking about? They just refuse to learn. In what way did Top Gun Maverick cater to an under 40 diverse crowd that Indiana Jones 5 didn't do? Top Gun was a movie featuring an aging character interacting with younger co-stars. Indy 5 has the same basic genetic makeup. The key difference that they don't want to mention is that Top Gun scratched the itch of its built-in audience. Top Gun didn't degrade its legacy characters, it celebrated them, and people came out in droves to support it. And that's the key. That's the key right there. Mentioning Top Gun Maverick was a mistake because it blows up their whole argument. If Top Gun can make $1 billion at the box office, then the fact that a movie features an old guy is not a valid excuse for why it bombed. This is why Indy 5 bombed. It just isn't popular. Lucasfilm and their IPs are no longer popular. This is a Google Trends chart showing how often Top Gun Maverick, shown in the red line, was searched for on Google, compared to Indiana Jones 5, represented by the blue line. So far, Indiana Jones has only reached 23% of the popularity of Top Gun at its peak, and that tells us everything we need to know. Nobody gives a shit about Lucasfilm movies any longer. The reason we won't go and see your movies any longer, dear Kathleen, is because we don't trust you. On the other hand, when the new Tom Cruise movie comes out next weekend, Mission Impossible, I plan to go see that because I do trust him. And I urge all of you to go as well. In fact, I might go in extra time just to give that movie the money that I would have normally given this Indiana Jones film if they had just fired Kathleen Kennedy and moved on from this identitarian bullshit. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.